I'm going to say a little bit about the economics degree that we offer here, what it consists of, what makes it distinct from some other economics degrees that are available. It's actually very much like what you'll find in an economics degree at any top university. You basically start off with doing principles of economics and maths and stats, and usually some sort of breadth thing like world economic history in your first year, and that's what we have too. We also have a bit more of a history of thought component in there as well. And then what happens in year 2 and 3 is you continue with your economic theory divided into microeconomics and macroeconomics, and you continue with the stats part of the maths and stats that you've had in the first year by doing econometrics. And what happens progressively in year 2 and year 3 is you get options that you can take that are a matter of your choice to complement these principles courses and the maths and stats. Now, as I say, that's really pretty much the structure you'll find in an economics degree at any top university. I've mentioned one respect in which what we do at King's is a bit more distinct from others, but I'll give you an illustration of how it's also distinct in another respect. And I'll give you a couple of illustrations. Let me provide a bit of context to those illustrations. 2 of the key developments in the economy over the last decade have turned, not exclusively, but importantly, on bad management and political failure. And let me explain. The financial crisis of 2008 occurred in part because lots of banks gave loans that were just too risky to be covered on the downside by the capital reserves that those banks held. Now that is bad management. Pure and simple, bad management by banks. The euro crisis that followed in the wake of the financial crisis in 2010, when you had all these countries threatening to default on their own debts, just the way the banks had these problems with debts before, and countries started to default on their debts, the euro crisis. That crisis was built in to the structure of the euro. It was a design fault. There was a flaw in the architecture of the euro because you can't have a functioning currency union, which is what we call it when you decide to share a currency as a currency union, a single currency like the euro where there used to be these different individual currencies. You can't have a functioning currency union like the euro unless you also have an accompanying fiscal union and banking union. And neither of those 2 complementary bits were put in place. Now, it's an economic insight to see that you need those other 2 complementary bits. It's not just good enough to have a single currency. You've got to have a fiscal union and a banking union to accompany that. That's an economic insight. But the fact that the politicians negotiated the euro and launched it without those 2 accompanying complementary bits of the fiscal union and the banking union, that is a political failure. It's not just enough to understand the economic principles that are in play, you've also got to know what causes bad management and political failure. And that's another respect in which the degree programme that we offer at King's is distinct from other degree programmes because it's a degree programme that is run jointly by the Department of Political Economy, that's one department I'm in, and the School of Management. And what that means is that whilst we teach this standard structure of the economic principles and the maths and stats that you'll find in any degree programme, what you also get is the opportunity to study options in both management and in political science. And as the two examples that I've just given you suggest, understanding management and the operation of politics is quite often crucial, as well as understanding the economic principles, quite crucial to understanding how those economic principles actually play out in the real world and affect how we live. So, another aspect in which the programme is distinct is it's this joint programme between the Department of Political Economy and the School of Management, and that opens up this breadth to understand how it is that economic events actually unfold, not just as a result of economic principles, but as the interaction with, for example, bad management and political failure.